Hey, what's up, guys? You're listening to the Comedy Podcast. This is your host, Rick Shurdan, and we got a really interesting episode of the Comedy Podcast for you today, guys. I wasn't planning on doing this, but things kind of get shuffled around a little bit. I was going to play an interview with a really funny female comedian, but I've had to switch things around because, you know, if you're in the comedy community, you probably already heard about this, but just in case you haven't, here's the deal. This same funny female comedian is now accusing me, Rick Shurdan, of doing kind of a Me Too kind of like thing. Yeah, I know, unbelievable, right? So out of respect to this person, I'm not going to name any names, and out of respect to me, they're doing the opposite. So that's why, like, when you go to social media today, you're going to see, like,
oh, yeah, you know the guy that does the comedy podcast, Rick Shurdan? Don't go on his podcast, he's bad to women.
Right, but all I want to do right now, guys, is just kind of put my story out there, my side of the story. Okay, basically, here's what happened. 2 days ago, I did a gig with this certain individual, and I was on first. I got off stage. I went backstage. There was a big sofa backstage. And I've got this thing that I do. If I have a good gig and there's a big sofa backstage, I'll sit down and I'll go, yeah. And when I go, yeah, I spread my arms out, right? So that's what happened. I sat down. I went, yeah. And I spread my arms out. And I was the only one on the sofa for like a half an hour. And I was just sitting there going, yeah. And then she got done. She came backstage. And I don't think she did this on purpose, in all fairness, but she sat down on my hand. Now, I've been in this country for a long time now, but I still have difficulty with the English ways, but I'm trying, right? I'm trying not to complain. I'm trying not to say anything about this. And 45 minutes later, she's still sitting on my hand. Well, I thought, why not interview her for the comedy podcast? So with my free hand, I got out the computer, got out the microphone, opened up the software, pressed record. And so what I'm going to play for you now, guys, is that part of the interview. I was going to play the whole interview with this very, very funny female comedian, but I'm just going to play now because this happened. I'm just going to play that part where she discovers that my hand is under her, her bottom. So this is a little bit of auditory evidence here on the Comedy Podcast.
Okay, so here is a chart that basically shows you that out of 450,000 people currently doing comedy in the UK, only 200,000 of those are female. So
wow.
You keep that. Here's a brochure that pretty much tells you the same thing. You can keep that as well.
Okay.
This is the same thing as a pie graph.
Oh, cool.
So it's basically the same thing. It's just got a big circle in the middle.
Yeah.
And here's a jigsaw puzzle that you can put together, and it makes a picture of that chart. So you kind of learn as you put it together. So all of these things taken together really prove what everybody knows, that females in comedy have it very, very, very difficult.
Why is that?
Because of sexism.
Oh.
Because for a long time things have been a certain way, and now that way is changing.
Yeah.
It's good for some people like feminists, but not so good for other people like anti-feminists. And that's what happened right now. The anti-feminists are very, 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 very scared right now.
Sounds like they're really scared right now. So my next question is in two parts. The first part is, when did you, and the second part is, first know that you were funny?
I think I knew that I was funny pretty early on because I could always make, mostly the women. I could make the women in my family laugh at a very early age. And then later on, I could make the women at university laugh. I made the women at work laugh. Mostly women. I can make women laugh. And I know the anti-feminists will say, like, oh, that's because women are always socially, politely laughing at each other. But that's different.
Yeah.
The social, polite women laughter is always like, but this was more like, Right, so I knew I was, I'm sorry. Why is your hand under my bottom?
Oh, you sat on it when you came in.
No. I think I would know if I had sat on somebody's hand.
No, you did. You sat on it.
No. I'm sorry. This is wrong.
You would have felt it if I stuck it under there.
What you've done is wrong. This is a wrong thing.
No, I got this thing I do after gigs. I sit down and I go, yeah.
I don't even know what you're talking about, but I know that you're wrong. This is a wrong thing. What you've done
I didn't do
is
anything.
not a right thing. This is a wrong thing.
I didn't do anything.
This is not a right thing.
Okay, so basically you guys can hear what happened there. So again, the plan was I was supposed to play that interview specifically dealing with feminism and comedy with that very, very, very funny female comedian. But because this happened, I've had to switch things around. And so now I'm going to play a different interview about feminism and comedy with a very, very, very funny male comedian, Edgware. This guy, you know him. you either love him or hate him. There's no two ways about it, because this guy splits people right down the middle because he is pure comedy edge. His stuff is edgy, his stuff is dark, but it's still so funny. So you're like,
I don't know, should I laugh at this? Will I laugh at this? Oh my God, what do I do if I am laughing at this? I'm laughing at this. I can't believe I'm laughing at this.
It's just like that. It's so edgy and funny. Before I play this, just a few things people have said about Eric Edgware. Incelquarterly.co.uk says, quote, Eric Edgware takes the stage like a man possessed with the truth about women. Praise be to Odin, father of the thunder god Thor. There is still edge in comedy, and its name is Eric Edgware. That's awesome, but my favorite is this one from the Weekly Edge. Eric Edgware is pure edge. If you don't like comedy that rides the razor's edge, do yourself a favor, stay home and take a nice, safe bubble bath. Okay, guys, consider that your trigger warning for the day. Let's shoot from the hip with Eric Edgware on the Comedy Podcast. First off, Eric, let me thank you so much for stepping in at the last minute to do this. It is such an honor to have you here on the Comedy Podcast. Well, Rick, the honor is mutual. I'm a big fan of the Comedy Podcast. I listen to it all the time.
Wow.
I'm glad you found a way to come out here and do one of these, because I've been wanting to be a guest on an episode for quite some time, man.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to hear about your Me Too problems. And matter of fact, Rick, can I just say something before we get started? Is that all right?
Yeah.
I just want to say something. Guys, I've known this man, Rick Shurdan, in comedy for 10 years.
Yeah.
And not only is he a really good comedian, he's also a very funny guy. And that's why I know you're going to make it through this. You're going to come out the other side. You're going to triumph. You're going to prevail. Wow. Thanks for that. Wasn't really expecting that, especially from one of my comedy heroes. But wow. Yeah, thanks. Anytime, Rick. Getting a little misty-eyed in the studio. Nothing wrong with crying, Rick. Wow. But I got to man up now, because the first question is coming out of the cannon. Lock and load. Fire the muskets. Bang, bang. You're dead. Eric Edgware. Feminism and comedy. Good thing, bad thing, shoot. I mean, here's the thing, Rick. To me, like, feminism and comedy, that's like taking sugar. But not just ordinary sugar, like sugar with ants crawling all over and stuff. It's like taking that and putting it on top of a steak. The steak is the comedy. What do you want to ruin it by putting all this sugar and ants and stuff on it? Awesome. But listen, Eric, now some people might hear a joke like that and call it anti-woman. But you're not anti-woman. No. You're just anti-feminist. That's right. Like, what's that all about? Well, here's the thing, Rick. You know, I respect women. I grew up with women, my mother, my sisters. You know, most of my girlfriends have been women. But sometimes with this feminism thing, it's too much. It's too much women. You know, it's like women here, women there, women this, women that. So I did my part, Rick. I killed a couple. That leads to my next question. Do you think that decision has negatively affected your comedy career? Oh, absolutely. I mean, if it comes out that you're a woman killer in today's climate, it comes with a harsh stigma, especially if you're a comedian. But even before that, Rick, I mean, when they convicted me and sent me to prison here, they basically took away my right to go on tour. But you know, it's not all bad. I mean, it's like Jordan Peterson says in his new book, 6 Ways Including Sunday. No, 15 Ways to Be a Boy Again. When he says, whenever something happens, it's for something. Because if I hadn't done what I did, Rick, I wouldn't be here now, hosting the first ever stand-up open mic comedy night for the inmates of the Tallahassee County Correctional Facility. Awesome. Right, I gotta stop the interview there, because at this point, things got pretty interesting when Eric Edgware asked me, Rick Shurdan, if I wanted to do a spot on his prison open mic night. Well, I've never played before a prison crowd before, but let's just say I'm not quite Johnny Cash just yet. I don't know, maybe I'm being humble. You guys be the judge. Here's my penitentiary debut on the Comedy Podcast.
Comedy Podcast.
Comedy
Podcast.
Yeah, so I know what you guys are probably thinking. You're probably thinking, this guy Rick Shurdan, he's doing all right. He's on a stage, he's got a microphone, he's got it made. And the best part is, if this gig goes bad, I get to go home at night. You guys got to stay here. Okay, moving on. Everybody having a good night tonight? Or day? Like, what time of the day is it? I don't even know what time it is. You guys are indoors like all the time. Do they ever let you out?
Sometimes.
They do?
Yeah.
Like, when do they let you out?
Exercise yard.
Exercise yard. What's that? Like, they take you out to like the swing sets?
Nah.
What am I talking about? Swing sets. This is not kiddie prison. Although I bet some of you guys are in prison because of kiddies.
Fuck you.
Okay, and with that, I think that's my time. So, okay. Obviously not my best gig ever. But one thing I learned in comedy a long time ago, comedy is all about learning.
Hey, Lizzie!
And that night, I just had to sit back and learn from the pros. Check them out on the Comedy
Podcast.
All right, guys, come on. Another hand for Rick Shurdan. Funny stuff. Come on, first time. You know, Rick brought up some important topics there. Right? Pedophilia. Very important topic, pedophilia. Did you guys hear about this guy in Sacramento?
Yeah.
They caught this guy with 74 billion images of child porn on his computer. 74 billion. Cops called him in. They said, we found 74 billion images of child porn on your computer. Now, we don't really care about the child porn, but what kind of computer are you using? We could use that down at headquarters. Come on, this is like some top-level sci-fi government computer kind of stuff. And you can afford that on a puppeteer's salary? Please. All right, that's enough out of me. You guys ready for your headline act? Woo! All right, very funny guy. He's a regular here. He played all over the circuit until he chopped off his mother's head and used it as a dog toy. But he's here with us tonight. Please welcome Mr. Edmund Kemper III.
Yeah.
Woo. All right, thanks for that, Eric. It's so good to be here tonight. Not like I have any choice in the matter. Wow, you guys are loud. You better watch out. If my mother were still alive, which thanks to me, she's not. But if she were still alive, she'd say, keep it down. My mother hated noise. When I was a little kid and I was playing in my room, she used to stomp on the floor and go, keep it down. What do you want to do? Raise the dead? And I'd be like, yeah, I do. I'm not going to lie. I love the dead. Sometimes I see living people, I can't help but think, I wonder what you look like dead. Yeah. I love the dead. I'm into necrophilia.
Yeah.
I'm obviously not the only one here. Necrophiliacs? We've got necrophiliacs in the house. You're going to love this one. You know when you're skull fucking your dead niece?
Yeah.
And that lightning bolt moment of clarity strikes you, and all you can think is, I know I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Why is it the moment you come, all of a sudden you're thinking, I gotta get a life, settle down, get a wife. Maybe that'll curb that whole skull fucking thing I've been doing since my teens. Yeah. Try telling that to my wife's skull. She found out the hard way. You don't make fun of my voice.
Yeah.
So, what have we learned in today's episode? Well, when it comes to feminism and comedy, we've talked to both sides. We've talked to Eric Edgware. We've talked to this
certain individual.
But if you were going to ask me, Rick Shurdan, what do I personally think about this topic? I just got to tell you, because, hey, what's the point of being a comedian if you can't have your own opinions? And I do. I have very, very, very strong opinions on this topic. No matter how things turn out with myself and this
certain individual.
When it comes to feminism and comedy, here's the deal. If it's good, it's good. If it's not good, it's not good. So there you go. I know this is going to upset some people. I know it's not going to upset some other people. But if I upset you, I'm sorry. And if I upset you, I'm not sorry. And if I upset you because I'm not sorry, I'm sorry. You know, what can I say? It's just my opinion. So, I'd like to thank all the guests on the Comedy Podcast today. You heard from Edmund Kemper III. You heard from Eric Edgware. And most importantly, you heard from this
certain individual.
And thank you guys, as always, for listening to the Comedy Podcast. I've been your host, Rick Shurdan. As always, if you want to support the Comedy Podcast, please go to patreon.com/Will Franken. I have no idea what that has to do with me, Rick Shurdan, of the Comedy Podcast, but hey, I'm just an empty mop bucket to be filled with the dingy gray water of comedy.